Hi, Math11. So what I'd like to do tonight is go over the answers that some students had asked me to cover from the review, and then I'll give you the take-home exam. And what I'd like you to do is to have that, hopefully try to have that done for Tuesday. Okay? So that's the exam on the rational expressions. So here we've got a division. So remember, with the division, what you want to do is you want to turn this into a multiplication, and you want to flip these two, which is what we call the reciprocal. Okay, so flip them over. So the first thing we can do is do this begin our factoring and then flip that over. Okay, and so here we can pull out an x, so that gives you the x over there. And then this is a difference of squares at the top here, which is now the bottom here, 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. And then we can factor this one, which is now the top, 3x plus 2, x plus 2. And then the 1 over x just becomes x over 1. So again, when you're canceling things out, what you're looking for is the same thing on the top of any one of these fractions and at the bottom of any one of these fractions. So for example, there's the x at the bottom here that's going to be crossed out with the x on the top here. Okay, 3x minus 2, 3x minus 2 here are going to cancel out, and then 3x plus 2, and then 3x plus 2 over here. So now what that's going to leave us is the x plus 2, and then this one being factored, it becomes x plus 1 and x plus 2. So the x plus 2's cancel out, and you're left with 1 over x plus 1. Now, with the restrictions or the non-permissible values, this is some of with that quiz that you recently did, some of you had difficulty with this part here. So what you want to do is you want to look at anything that at one point was the bottom. So if you look at this 1 over x, even though it became x over 1, at this point it was 1 over x. So here the restriction is x can't be equal to 0. Okay, so you can't just look at the end. Okay, you have to look at even things that were crossed out. You have to include those as the non-permissible values. Okay, this one here. So now this is a solving one, right? Because you can see the equal sign here. So what you want to do here is you want to put these two fractions together, and in order for you to do that, you need a common denominator. So the denominator between z and 5 is going to be 5z. So what that means is you're going to have to multiply this one by 5, and you're going to have to multiply this one by z. Okay, so that's going to give you 5 z minus 2 plus z times 1 is just going to be z, and that's all over 5z. And so when you have the same, when you have a separation by an equal sign and you have the same thing on the bottom of both sides, they can be cancelled out. So now you've got 5z minus 10, so that's when you multiply this 5z minus 10 plus z equal to negative 4, and then the 5z and the z here becomes 6z. And then the minus 10 can be moved over to the other side as plus 10. With the minus 4 becomes 6, and so you get z equals 1 as your answer, and z can't be equal to 0. And again, as far as the extraneous answers, if the answer was, say, z equals 0, and the restriction is 0, it can't be 0, then that would not be a possible answer. So you always want to compare your answer with the non-permissible values and make sure they don't match up. Okay, the next one was 20F. Okay, so another one, solving one. So here, again, you want to put these two fractions together. So they both have a 2 already. This one's lacking the x. Okay, so you don't have to multiply this one by anything. You just have to multiply this one by x. And so remember, when we multiply by x, we are also doing the bottom, right? And so that's why you get 2x for the bottom which is compatible with this 2x here. So you're going to get x minus 2 over 2x plus 1, and then here you got x from here plus x minus 3 over 2x. Okay, so now what might have confused you on this one is you might have looked at it and said, well, there's a 2x there and a 2x here. Can't I just cross that out? But they have to be completely the same on the bottom. Okay, so because this has that plus 1, you can't cancel these two out. Now, what I'm doing here, when you have two fractions that are separated by an equal sign and you want to get rid of the fractions, this is called cross multiplication. Okay, so you cross multiply. Okay, so that's only in this type of situation. So essentially what's happening is the 2x will multiply the x minus 2, and the 2x plus 1 will multiply the 2x minus 3. So in doing so, you get rid of the fraction. Okay, so now you have that, and so now what you want to do is multiply that all out. So here you're going to get 2x squared minus 4x. And then this one here you're going to get, so 2x times 2x is 4x squared, 2x times minus 3 is negative 6x, 1 times 2x is 2x, and then 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Okay, and then over here we've got a negative 4x on both sides, so you can cancel those out. And so you get 2x squared minus 3 equal to 0. And so now what you can do is you can put the 3 to the other side, divide by 2 and square root it. And so if you're looking in the back, you might have had this answer, but it wasn't in the back of the book like that, because remember, we don't want to have the roots on the bottom, so you have to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by root 2 over root 2, and then that gives you root 6 over 2. Okay, and then here's your non-permissible values. Okay, and the last one here. So you've got, again, the same idea here. We want to put these together. So we're going to multiply this one by x minus 3 and this one by x plus 2. And here we can factor this first, but then we're going to want to put it together with that minus 1. Okay, so so here's your x plus 2, x minus 3. So we multiplied this one by x minus 3, this one by x plus 2. We factored the x squared minus x minus 6 to give you x plus 3 and x plus 2. And so that means for this one, because you want it the same, this is, you can write this as negative 1 over 1. So you want this to be the same as that. So you have to multiply this by x minus 3, x plus 2. Okay, which is what you're doing over here. And then same idea, if it's the same on the bottom on both sides, x plus 2, x plus 2, x minus 3, x minus 3, you can cancel that out. So now we're just left with the top part. And so we can multiply this out, so that gives you 3x minus 9. Okay, so 3 times x and 3 times minus 3. And then the 5 is going to multiply x plus 2, so that gives you 5x plus 10. And then here we've got 3x minus 1. So this multiplies back into that, x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, collect like terms. 3x and 5x give you 8x. Negative 9 and 10 gives you plus 1. And then here you've got 3x. You're multiplying all this by minus 1. So minus x squared plus x, because there's a minus there, and a plus 6 because there's a minus here. Okay, so we've got the 3x and the x gives you 4x. Okay, and so now you can collect everything together. We've got the x squared, 8x minus the 4x gives you 4x. 1 minus 6 gives you negative 5. You factor that out. So you have two answers. So let's see if these answers are viable. And so what you want to do is compare those with the non-permissible values. And here the non-permissible value is negative 2 and 3. So these answers then will work. Okay, so I'll stop there. Again, it's really good that you keep sending me questions. So I've got the take-home exam for you to work on, and I think at this point you all seem pretty good at being able to submit them. Just one, if you're able to, if you can't, it's not a big deal. But if you're able to put it on a single PDF that I can kind of scroll through, that would be preferable. But if you're unable to do that, don't worry about it. Just do separate shots for each page, okay? And that's fine, okay? And so noticing that when I give you the scores, it's just a total. And if you want to, if you need more feedback than that, just let me know, and I can discuss where the mistakes were made. Okay. So again, look after yourself. You don't have to get the take-home exam done in one sitting. You can do a little bit each day, so it makes it a bit less daunting with everything else that's going on. And keep sending me questions. Okay, so I'll talk to you again on Tuesday. Okay, bye now.